What is up? Good morning, everyone. I'm just killing my space heater because I have no idea how much noise that's going to make on the microphone. I was just saying how with it being so cold here, at least I was nice and warm and toasty, and then I completely forgot that I was going to have to turn the space heater off. So I have about half a coffee left. I'm gonna try to do this without that heater, but desperate times might call for desperate measures. Kevin, hey, Eric Walker, how you doing, bud? Eric, I am so damn impressed with everything you have that you've brought to life in the last couple of weeks. That stream the other day was phenomenal. I think you got a lot of people talking and thinking about just forget about the opportunities of Mega World and more players coming in for scholarships and for all that stuff. But dude, the ability for MCP to just get that first partnership in whatever it might be is going to be a domino that once that first one falls, is no picking it back up. So I love it. Lux, you guys moved from California to the Canadian border. -20? Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh, that is brutal. That's a big change. I don't know that my body could handle that. I mean, how long does it take? Are your body's acclimated to that? Like, how long did that take for you to go from being, like mid 80s, 90s, 100 to -20? Gucci, good morning. ZeroCool, I am thrilled that you are here. Thank you for joining. Yeah, Eric, that was a phenomenal idea he had, right? That's perfect. Just a place you can go and listen to music. 6 months. Wow, you told me 6 months. I would have expected to hear you say, Lux, that 6 months and we're still getting used to it, but you love it. Okay. All right. Do you like it because you're naturally a fan of colder weather, or do you like it because California didn't really have that cold, true winter, and this is like that real winter? Ooh, a concert in the Fortnite game, Kevin. Eric's points about concerts reminded me about when my kids went to a concert within a Fortnite game. They can do it. Why the hell can't we? You're a fan of the cold, but never had an issue with the heat. Okay. Blockchain guy, you adapt fast. That's clever. Oh, man. So, hey, we're going to spend some time talking about a really cool recent transaction. I figured, we're gonna run out of content, fairly quickly. So we're gonna have to depend on a lot of stuff, like what's happening in game. I'm gonna try to avoid what's happening in Discord, and focus on current and recent events. And one thing that kind of came across the radar the other day, which was really interesting, was the fact that we had a nice district sale in the Ethereum district. I've been spending a lot of time on streams kind of focused on my district over in Tron, but I thought this would be a great chance to kind of shake it up a little bit. We'll focus on the Ethereum map for a bit here, and we'll walk through District 150, which is the district that just sold for 17 Ethereum last week. It is owned by ZeroCool, who is in the chat right there. And we'll take a walk through. We'll see what the district has to offer. Zero, if you have any questions, feel free, shout them out, and I'll answer those. But figured we could spend some time doing that. I do have Mega World fired up as well, so we'll take a walk over to the district as well, do a little street view. What is cool about District 150 is, much like the number might suggest, it is adjacent to District 151, but it is also directly across from District 43 and the main tower. So that to Central Park area, that is very familiar for anybody who's looked at the Ethereum map. District 150 borders that. So it's I think it's a nice little hidden gem. But I have not spent any time actually walking through the district myself. So this is all going to be first time live reaction, and we'll see what we can find. So I'm excited to be here with you guys. Anybody have anything interesting or fun or exciting going on in MCP? New buildings, new mega, first building, land plot. I really want to celebrate because there's so many cool things that happen throughout the game for folks, and success is relative. So, it doesn't have to be a mega that's been built. It can be your first building. It can be that first upgrade that you make, improving the yield and the output. I'd love to hear about it and share and celebrate. Right, we are gonna jump into 150. If we have any issues with audio or anything like that, just give me a shout in chat. I did not have a chance to go through my typical regimen of testing. Lots of new citizens and citizen flipping. Awesome. Those are citizens that you're breeding? Ooh, Kevin, I like that. A landmark tour. Eric, another great point. Great time to buy land. Gas is at 50, which, can you imagine we're saying that today? Think back a year and a half ago. Gas is at 50. The game's unplayable. Yes, Lux. Yeah. All right. I know I try very, very hard these days to not be polarizing. I want to be middle of the road. I don't want to be the guy that's saying yes or no. I want to be the guy saying you could make a case for both. And I'm having a really hard time not getting really excited every time I open up like my TradingView app and I see just like blood in the water in the marketplace. And for me, it's tough because I have to balance it out with humanizing and recognizing that those reds mean that people are losing money. And that's terrible and it's unfortunate. But in the context of us growing as a community, this game growing and play to earn, in general, nothing excites me more than a potential bear market. Vitaly, what's going on, sir? Unfortunately, not at the moment. Work my way back to having my own breeding online. Right now, just market arbitrage. Well, that's awesome. US Santa for 2,000 US dollars. Polly is here too. Hello, Polly. Lux, let me know how that goes. I didn't think to ask Santa for cash. I should have thought of that. Right. Fire up the map. Let's see what we get here. All right, so you live 100% on crypto. Oh, interesting. And you're still a fan. So Lux says he lives 100% on crypto, don't have a fiat income, but even with that, you still love seeing red. Explain that to me, because that's like, to me, as I think about over the next couple of years, literally everything I'm doing now, I'm trying to get myself and my family set up so that I have a chance to eventually live off of this. And, I can do like the stuff that I do currently, in the real world. Maybe I can do some consulting down the road. But for now, like, I'm trying to get myself set up so that the money that I'm able to make potentially in these games is going to allow me to provide for my family. But the thing that always scares me is I don't know where the bottom is. And every time we have, a bull cycle, I want to know where the bear cycle is going to bottom out at. And for me, it's like I cheer for a bear now because, yeah, I would love some more cheap capital so I can ramp up and get myself situated so that for the next bull run, I'm ready to go. But the idea of being wholly crypto and then going through a bear market just scares the crap out of me. Oh, you asked Santa for 2,000. I got you, for a price point. You want Santa to help you get some short sellers in there and put some pressure. down to 2,000. I gotcha. All right. So Zero, talk to us a little bit about, because you're in chat and you're talking. I'm thrilled that you're here. Talk to us a little bit about like the process when you came in. You took a look around. What was it about District 150 that kind of drew you? Was it the cheapest? Was it something about the district? Was it just a random chance? I'd love to learn more about how you arrived at 150. And in the meantime, we're gonna jump to 150. It was the cheapest. Okay. All right. Awesome. Well, hey, listen, that's a good thing. All right. So 150. Right now, we are loaded into District 43. So District 43. This is our main tower. Drop this chair down a little bit. So what we know to be true is that anybody who's loading into Mega World, at least until they own a certain building or have an apartment, they're all going to be loading in through this main tower. So District 43 obviously should have the vast majority of foot traffic coming into the game. And then the districts around it, depending on how effective they are at pulling crowds in, should benefit from all that foot traffic as well. So District 150, if we're at the main tower, all we have to do is just scoot on back here. You've got the Central Park, which extremely, extremely beautiful, especially on the ground. And if you come on over here we are, District 150. So this is ZeroCool's new district. We'll pull up the information here. And let's check this out. So a couple things jumping out right away. So on the one hand, this was a district where if you look in the Discord, you're going to see lots of people coming in saying, hey, who's the owner here? What's going on? Can we lower taxes? That's been going on for that channel's just been dead for a while. So I was really, really excited to see when the district sold. Not only did it sell to somebody who was present in the Discord, but immediately recognize that there's an opportunity to revitalize this district. And with the current price of Ethereum, you're not going to revitalize a district or even get any growth in your district if you have taxes that are not extremely, extremely low. You can get away with marginal taxes on the Tron side because Tron capital is just so much cheaper than Ethereum capital right now. But on the Ethereum side, you're not going to get growth when your construction taxes, honestly, I think higher than 25%, you're not going to get anything that's going to happen unless your land is just dirt cheap. So, thrilled to see the quick tax changes that Zero put into effect. When we look at it, construction taxes extremely low. I'm guessing that's probably 5% Zero. And then you've got your commercial and office a little bit higher, municipal lower, but still higher than the rest. For those folks who might not know, as a district owner, you can only drop taxes so far. You have to play with a bare minimum of 100 points assigned to each of these sectors. So you actually can't drop everything down to zero. Something has to be, 50, 75, 100% if you do drop your taxes down for other sectors, super low, around 5, 10%. So construction tax is very, very low. This is going to make for an awesome opportunity for residential, production, industrial, and energy. Your offices and commercial buildings probably are not going to be constructed here because the taxes are quite high. Your municipal buildings, if somebody was looking to build, they'd be able to because it's a very, very reasonable tax. Zero, the first thing I would say is right now, because municipal buildings are largely, I don't want to say obsolete, but there's just, people aren't building them. This would probably be a place where if you wanted to incentivize growth, and we'll talk a little bit about office buildings, you could get away with jacking the municipal taxes up to 80, 100% in favor of very low taxes for these other sectors, and you're not going to piss anybody off. So we'll talk a little bit about that, and specifically the opportunity with offices. Production tax is very low. I think we're talking like 24, 25% across the board for each of these, so that's really, really good. You will probably find that if you can get residential up and running in your district, that breeding will really help with revenue. Your production and industrial and your energy collections that occur, largely, unless somebody's speeding up, you're probably not going to see too much revenue coming in from there. But something to keep in mind that as the economy starts to turn around and Mega goes up, you could definitely see speed ups become really helpful. So at that point, you might want to consider dropping them lower to incentivize speed ups. But until speed ups are profitable or people are doing them, where your taxes are at is perfect. Yes, right. So Zero, you can only lower them to a point. You have that 100 points, 400 points maximum that you can assign to taxes, 100 points minimum. So if you wanted to bring office down to 50%, that would require that you raise something else up 20, 30%, or whatever the case may be. So we'll talk through that. 5% initial land prices. So this should be very exciting for anybody who's looking at this. And what the big thing here about these initial land prices is, it means that when somebody purchases a plot of land, an unsold plot of land, the other plots within 3 plots from it in all directions are going to go up in price. But because he has this set to 5%, that price increase is not going to be really as noticeable as it would be in a district that's 25, 50, or 100%. Right now in 214, I have mine at 75%. It's going to be going to 100%, only because the district is developed and there's enough value there locked to premiumize the land. But what's really awesome about Zero settings here is it's actually going to allow you to purchase a 1x2 or a 2x2 and not see the price skyrocket after the first 1 or 2 plots of land are sold. And Kevin's point in chat is that there's lots of 2x2s available in District 150. So you get a really cool combination of things happening there, Zero. The only drawback to the 5% land prices is that your cut of those purchases is going to be a little bit lower. So as the district starts to develop and people buy land and there's enough value proposition and people see, hey, you know what? The district is close to the main tower. It's adjacent to the park. It's right next to District 151. You could probably start to bring those land prices up a little bit as landowners start to see more value. Your insurance fund at 5% right now, with municipal buildings not really serving a purpose, the district fund's at 0.2 Ethereum, so it's not like that 5% is going to take a hard hit. But I would say probably until municipals become relevant, drop that down to 1%. That way more is going to funnel through your district fund to your district offices. And like I said, we'll talk more about that, but that could be a really cool tool to get some more folks into to build. Now let's check out what we got going on here for the news. So 1,000 land plots, so a decent sized district. There are 582 that are currently unpurchased, which is nice because that means you've got 582 purchases worth of potential revenue to come in. 62 operational buildings. Your fund is set to a 30-day payout. We'll talk a little bit about that. What I'm curious about is the activity here. So it kind of looks like there hasn't been a ton of activity up until now, which is appropriate given the fact that the district has been relatively dead until now. But tons and tons of opportunities here. And like Kevin said, we got 2x2s as far as the eye can see. So if we look at this, first thing I'm going to do is let's check out top 10 cheapest land plots. And we're going to look specifically at District 150. We should ground ourselves. So cheapest land plot in the entire map right now on the Ethereum side is in 117. Actually, it looks like a lot of these are in 117. 0.065 Ethereum. Let's check out 150. Hustler, good morning. All right, so 150, here we go. So handful here that are very cheap. You got a lot of plots here that are under 0.2 Ethereum, which is awesome, especially for somebody who's looking to start up. Let's check out, there's a couple here that are jumping out. Like this plot right here, 356, 361 at 0.14 Ethereum. This would be beautiful for an office. This plot here would also be beautiful for an office. So let's check this out. 339, 368. All right. Which plot loaded up here? Right over here. Okay. All right. So this is currently the cheapest plot available that has not been sold previously. So primary market, 0.1 Ethereum, and you're getting a plot that is situated beautifully in between residentials, an office, commercial, and a municipal. So this area is actually already primed for for office and residential. You got one industrial over here, but it's actually really, really well shielded. Let's check out to see who owns these buildings. Unknown wallet, and then Paranu. Okay, so cool thing here. Paranu is reachable via Discord, so that's good. So this plot, if somebody was looking to build, let's say, a business center, 0.1 Ethereum there. This plot, 0.37, so a bit more expensive. This plot, 0.29. So you could assemble a mega site here if you wanted to for a business center, an office, even a residential building here should do pretty well because you've got municipal and commercial nearby, and you really don't have any industrial nearby to hurt you. So we're going to check that plot out. So 339, 368, and then let's jump over to MCP HQ, and let's see what we see here. And that little guy is running around up there. All right, so from an IP efficiency perspective, a residential building would be about 71% efficient, so 445 IP. You're also going to see great efficiency with a commercial, a little bit less so with municipal. Everything else is going to be lower. Office, surprisingly, very low. And that is because there's really no offices nearby. Right, so primarily residential. You could, if you were looking to build a business center, something here, the land nearby is relatively cheap enough and set up where people might want to, buy land and put residentials here as well. Also, you're building in 111, 112. Nice. What do you have planned there? All right, next one is 344, 375. All right, so another cheap one. This is near an industrial. I think these are Darren Johnston. Okay. Which these buildings are staffed. So this should be a great area for either more industrial, production. Land, again, is pretty cheap, right? So 0.11, 0.27, 0.34. Let's see if this is owned by a known wallet. Not owned by a known wallet. So the one tricky thing about this site, while it would be great for a 2x2, the challenge with this is usually if that plot is owned by a dead wallet, it becomes a little bit tricky. But what I like to do is, in this particular case, we can take the address assigned to this, and I'm going to hop over into OpenSea for a second here, and I'll drag this guy over so you can see. And so this is the wallet that owns that plot. Owns a couple of other plots in the game, but I want to check specifically for activity. So they haven't done anything, like literally nothing on this wallet in 2 years. All this stuff happened in MCP, but there's nothing occurring. So could send an offer to this person. They're going to get an email through OpenSea. Could trigger something, but that plot, in theory, you should be able to purchase pretty cheap if you're actually able to get it off of that person. But if you can't secure that plot, you are going to be limited to just a level 6. Hmm. Hustler with the energy grid. I like it. I like it. You have the land reserved already, or you still have to go through the process of buying all the land? Right. Now, the other thing, I'm going to see if I can get it pulled back up. 150 is actually laid out in a really, really interesting manner. Here we go. So it's a perfect rectangle. And that's actually going to make things pretty interesting for a couple reasons. So one, when you look at the footpaths here, you're going to see there's not a lot of sites that are ruined by footpaths, going, crisscrossing. It's not chutes and ladders. You got a ton of places for 2x2s and larger, which combined with the fact that it's super, super close to District 43 and that park, this should become a really, really great place for folks who are looking for custom buildings to come to, as we get closer and closer to Mega World. So from a zoning perspective, it becomes a little bit tricky because that rectangle, while it's easier to create like little neighborhoods that are easy to spot and recognize, it is a little bit trickier because when you've got a symmetrical shape like this, you don't really have the ability to stash zones out in far-reaching corners, to protect your residential or anything like that. So this is it's a cool shape to start doing some like neighborhoods and zoning with, but there might be some challenges because you don't really have any natural places where you can say, okay, this far corner is going to be specifically for this because it's bordered completely by by trees and forest. But you do have the park here, which is really cool. All right. So if we're looking at this, this is another one. Let's check this out. This is a business center that's almost completely built. Level 5. It's staffed. Greg is here. Okay. I mean, what's really nice about this district is there's stuff built all over the place, but the stuff that's built that's like in weird places like random residentials all over the place, I don't actually think they're not being staffed. They're there, but they're not really being utilized. This one's being used, but it's in a safe place. So it's nice. You've got a district, Zero, that you're not really inheriting any major issues. Lots of opportunities, no real issues. The only thing you're really going to have to contend with is just going to be dead wallets, which is an issue across the board. That's not limited to just 150. All right. Now, what we were talking about before too was when you think about land use. So all of this land over here, as we look at it, this is that central park, or I think that's called the Central Park. This, in theory, should become a gathering place or some kind of social hub with Mega World. So all of this land all along the border here should be like, it's literally like if you were buying land across from or on the adjacent to Central Park in New York City today. So I love this area, Zero, for folks to come in as we get closer and closer to World and to start snatching up this land. So in theory, if you're thinking about pulling people in, if you're trying to draw people in to build stuff, it's probably in your best interest that people don't start throwing up industrial buildings along here. This is land that's really best reserved for people who want to come in to build specifically custom buildings. You get tons of 2x2s. You got, what's this? This is a 2x5, another 2x5. You've got some, you get lots of 2x4s and 2x5s. You've got this area, which, what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, a 4x4. There's so much that could happen in this district with Mega World. This is really nice. All right, so getting back to offices. Offices, and I've mentioned this before, but I want to continue to drive this home. Offices are, I think lots of district owners look at it as their enemy. I look at it as my best friend. And what I can offer up here is as the district owner, you're really going to want to make sure that people are, it's not so much about them building level 1s or upgrading from level 1 to level 2. Name of the game is get people to buy land that has not been purchased before and make high level upgrades. And when you have a sector like office where the taxes are really, really high, the challenge is people are not going to construct offices. And normally as a district owner, you might be like, good, I'm thrilled. I don't want anybody building offices because I want to build my own district office and get all that district fund myself. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. However, in the game, office plays such a vital role in the IP improvements and boosting for a bunch of different sectors: industrial, production, residential, other offices. So when you don't have people building office buildings, you're not really creating, or you're leaving a lot of value on the table, because lots of the land in your district isn't going to be nearby other offices. And when it's not near offices, all of a sudden your industrial buildings can't max out their IP. Your production buildings, which are so incredibly important to have very, very high IP, they're also not in range of offices. So it's almost like right out of the gate, all of your sectors, people who are building, are going to be extremely challenged to ever have extremely high or perfect IP. Whereas when you say, you know what, I'm cool, let people take the district fund as they want, I'm going to play the longer game, and I want to see value added by having people build offices. As people build, buy land and build an office, right out of the gate, as soon as that happens, that land becomes that much more valuable for a residential building, for an industrial building, for a production building, or for other offices. So definitely don't make any firm, permanent decisions about your office taxes and policies until you've thought through what exactly it is that you're trying to get this district to become. I think districts with low office taxes are going to have a really, really great time as whenever the bigger market kicks in, because people are going to come, they're going to scoop up cheap capital. And what we've all learned is, I don't want to be in another bull market in MCP without an office. So the districts that have those low tax policies should really be able to capitalize on all of that pent up demand to come in and build buildings that are going to provide passive income. Lux, great having you. Thank you for joining. I appreciate it. Right. So let's check out the other thing. Let's look at your resource plots. So resource plots in 150. Small section here. What does it say? How many clusters are we looking at? 2. Okay. So with 2 resource clusters, it's really going to, there's going to be some challenges here. And the challenge with only having 2 resource clusters is that means that in theory, you only have 2 really, really ideal spots for somebody who wants to build, larger industrial buildings with high IP. You really want to have that energy there to anchor it with IP. So you got one over here. Let's see if we can find the second one. Looks like this is 151, I believe. Yep, this is 151. Where's that second cluster? Nowhere to be found. All right, so maybe there's just one. Maybe it's just one. All right, so what that's going to tell me is that out of the gate, you're going to have some challenges when it comes to your energy sector, and potentially even some of your industrial sector. And what I don't love about the lack of resource plots here is, so you've got room for 1 mega energy, but right now it looks like it's owned by a handful of different folks. So Greg owns that one. Random Wallet. Dexter, and then Darren. So the likelihood of somebody building a mega energy in the district is probably pretty low. It's going to require that somebody purchase all 4 of these from 4 different wallets, one of which we don't even know who the person is. And therefore, if there ever comes a point in time when energy is profitable to speed up, you're really not going to have any revenue coming in from those speed ups, which would be ideal. The other little challenge here is with there being so few resource plots, that means that there's fewer chances for somebody to build an energy building. And these industrial buildings you really want to have as many energy around your industrial as possible. However, the upside here is that you do have a lot of open land nearby that people can purchase to build those industrial buildings. And Darren is here as well. And Darren's got room here to build, to buy these other 2 plots and build a mega. So that could be an opportunity, about 1 Ethereum before land price increases. So I think honestly the name of the game here seems to be see if you can capitalize on the proximity to the park. All of this land over here should be, if MCP builds World the way we think they're going to build it, all of this land should be really prime real estate. Yeah, Zero, I think your custom buildings, office, and residential, you could carve out a really beautiful niche for that, because with you not having a ton of resource clusters, you don't have to worry about whether or not people are squandering them. It's almost like, you know what? Lean into what your district offers, and your district offers amazing views, really great opportunity for prime land for custom buildings, and plenty of open 2x2s for offices and for residentials. And the only thing you're really going to have to worry about with that strategy is just some of the industrials that are built all over the place. But when I look at your district, I don't really see a ton of random like level 1 industrials built. You got them every once in a while, one there, but you're set up for success here. I mean, honestly, this doesn't require a massive overhaul. It really just requires the community knowing, hey, we're going to lean into, to sectors X, Y, and Z. And over time, gradually, those random level 1s, because of your proximity to the park, honestly, like this land at some point is going to become more valuable as land for a custom building than it will be for an industrial building. So this getting this person, I would not be shocked to see this building get deconstructed at some point over the next year, just as you make way for new opportunities with custom buildings in the world. Reppin, great question. So Reppin says, haven't been in MCP during a bear market. Can you give some insight and strategy from experience? All right, so I think lots of this is hypothetical. Most of the guys that are in MCP and girls have experienced some form of a bear market. All of the original adopters, would have come in at various stages, but we've seen a couple things happen. And I don't want to say for sure this is exactly what would happen again, because lots of things have changed. A lot more people are buying crypto. There's a lot more reasons to buy and hold crypto. It's more well known, but bear with me here. So I think the first thing that we've learned is the transition from bear to bull was really not beneficial for MCP. And it wasn't beneficial for MCP for, I think, 2 primary reasons. One is going to be that a lot of people got priced out very quickly. And the challenge is, as people got priced out, normally you would have a new layer of the game to kick in to allow somebody to start playing much cheaper rental properties. However, because coupled with the increase, the transition from bear to bull, we also ran into all sorts of issues on the Ethereum side with gas. You had no way to bring players in for $100 or $200, because that $100 or $200, which might have bought you 1 or 2 Ethereum a couple months prior, is now, that $100 or $200 is now only worth a quarter of Ethereum and you got a lot more gas fee. You got a lot more gas fees you're going to be, incurring as you try to build out. So, cost of capital in a bull market, coupled with higher gas fees and no real way for smaller budget players to come into the game and really feel excited and have a reason to play and check in, every day, every couple of days, definitely hurt. Now, normally though, what we did see was before Mega and the Vault existed, we did have a truly unconstrained free market on the in-game marketplace. So you could produce whatever materials you wanted in-game, whether it was energy, water, wood, sand, stone, metal, brick, glass, steel, or concrete on the Tron side, and supply and demand ran free. Your price of materials, you could set it for whatever you wanted because there wasn't a benchmark where you could say, oh yeah, why am I going to buy off the in-game marketplace for X amount of Ethereum or Tron when I could just go to the vault and get it like that? And the vault is, it's set in stone. So now with the introduction of Mega, when Mega did not take off and follow Ethereum, now the in-game marketplace is not used as much as it was previously, and all the materials that people were producing were now pegged to the value of Mega, which is not following Ethereum. So you had this really, really kind of crappy perfect storm of new enhancements rolling in with higher gas fees, higher cost of capital, and honestly, it was just Mega not running and being able to appreciate relative to Ethereum. I think that was the biggest challenge in the bull market. But you did see people who had office buildings who were pulling that Ethereum in on a daily basis. They thrived because Mega didn't follow Ethereum, which meant they could use their office income to buy Mega to acquire the materials. And they actually didn't need to buy land to build an industrial or production building. It was cheap enough for them to just acquire it through the vault. In a bear market, though, what we have seen is access to cheap capital or cheaper capital is always good for the game. That's where we get a lot of new players. That's where we get players who come in and actually have a little bit of room for error. In the bull market, a new player on a shoestring budget can make zero mistakes. And unfortunately, most times people come into the game, they don't stop to think about, like, what am I doing? What's my strategy? What's my long-term plan? They're used to, like, every other project. You go, you find the cheapest thing, you buy it, you're part of the community now. Okay, what do I do with this asset? Nobody was asking, what do I do with this asset before they buy it? So their margin for error was close to zero to begin with, and they didn't do their research. So now they bought stuff that turns out doesn't really have the value they think they have. They can't resell it because nobody else wants that asset because it doesn't have the value that anybody wants or is looking for, and they become frustrated and they leave the game. In a bear market, I don't see that happening as much because people have a larger margin for error. And in a bear market, there's sell pressure on everything, and therefore I think some of that FOMO that exists in the bull market, where you just want to buy something, get something right here, right now, because it could be up 2x the next day, that doesn't exist in a bear. You actually, and sometimes a bear market incentivizes you to be more patient. It incentivizes you to stop and say, you know what, I'm looking for this asset, and this asset, but I'm not going to buy them until they reach a certain point. So I think bear will give a lot of opportunities for new players to come in, and that infusion of new blood into the community and new capital is always really, really good. Bob. Hey. Yeah, if Bob says he's out of Ethereum and can't run the buildings, that's the biggest challenge, right? Is if you don't have Ethereum that you're earning passively in the game or through some other source, your collections start to stall out. Your citizen restorations, all that stuff runs off of Ethereum or Tron on the Tron side. So that's why Zero, when I say I think that there's going to be a big opportunity to lean into office, people coming out of the bull market in MCP, Bob's going to be a great example. Bob gets some capital. I can almost guarantee you that given the option of building an industrial building or building an office, Bob's going to start to think very, very strongly about building an office because he's been through the bull market and sees that there's risk that if Mega doesn't follow Ethereum, his growth might stagnate. But if he's in a bull market and he has an office or he has a business center that's giving him Ethereum passively, he can use that Ethereum to buy land to, fund his daily collections and his expansion, and doesn't have to dip into his wallet to buy new Ethereum. Zero, what do I think about MCP producing more resources than we consume? It's a problem. It's a problem. But I don't think it's a long-term problem. I think we've already heard from them that they recognize that is a substantial headwind to the growth, not only of Mega, but the broader economy. Eric spoke a lot about this, about the need for more resource sinks. There have been a lot of ideas tossed around about how to rebalance that. But I think when all is said and done, it's actually maybe it's philosophical, but the issue isn't that there's more materials produced than consumed. It's that there aren't enough reasons right now to purchase and consume a lot of materials. So tomato, call it what you like, but I think MCP's recognizing that the material requirements to construct buildings needs to be adjusted, or there needs to be a lot more reason to build a lot more buildings. And the buildings that we've seen so far that are geared more towards Mega World, like the subway, the bus stations, those require a ton of materials. A subway station, if you want to build a subway station in District 150, you need 1,000 steel, you need 5,000 glass, you need 15,000 bricks. That's insane. To build a mega building, a mega industrial, you need 120 steel. What is it, like 700 glass and let's call it like 2,000 bricks? So it's legitimately the equivalent of like 7 to 10 mega buildings worth of materials. So I think they're going to continue going in that direction, where they put less emphasis on the actual capital requirements and a lot more emphasis on the material requirements. Maz, good morning. Yeah, and Reppin, so the challenges, Tron was really born out of the challenges that Ethereum had. I think it excelled out of the gate because of the headwinds that Ethereum had. And I'll be quite honest, I didn't move over to Tron for a while because I was really, really pissed off that map got rolled out and had no value add to the Ethereum economy. But I'm also fairly certain that when you look at the volume that was occurring, or I guess not occurring, during the gas crisis, like Tron is probably what kept MCP profitable. It's literally what allowed them to continue to grow their team, to stash that rainy day fund. Without Tron, without those districts, without everything happening, they're not getting a hell of a lot from Ethereum because nobody was building or doing anything. So the great thing was it came around at the right time. The rollout was abysmal. It's single-handedly the worst deployment I have ever seen occur within this game, but they've learned from it. I'm highly confident in that. And once I got through being upset and frustrated about it, I did the math, and I love the opportunities, and I'm right there with you. So now I get to play on both maps. When Ethereum's at $4,000 and Tron is at 8 cents, yeah, you know what? I'm a lot more likely to go expand and focus on Tron. When Ethereum drops down to $1,500, hopefully, maybe less, maybe not, I don't know, I'm going to focus a lot more on the Ethereum side. You get it. That's right. Yeah, Hustler, because you've got both of those districts, so at least the revenue as a district owner from those two districts kind of helps fund the journey. Hustler, he personally traded a ton of Mega on Tron for resources as a hedge, mostly focused on wood and sand, and the rest get traded for Mega. So you swapped Mega for materials, or you're trying to accumulate as much Mega as possible. Your District 258 opening was a 24-hour ROI. Holy shit. That's awesome. That's awesome. That's exactly. That's literally it. It's diversification. If you're on the Tron side and you're not on the Ethereum side, nothing wrong with that. Just know that at some point something could happen to the Tron map and Ethereum grows and Tron doesn't. Because right now there is nothing that says that if Ethereum succeeds, Tron will also enjoy some of that success. And there's nothing on the Tron side that says if Tron succeeds, Ethereum will also grow. There's no connection there, right? So you can't benefit. One map right now does not benefit from the other map growing. It actually hinders it because more attention is placed on that map. More people go to that map instead of going to the other one. So that diversification is awesome. And if you don't like the Ethereum, if you don't like Ethereum as a coin, fine. Get it and then swap it for something else, whatever coin you want to hold. And if you don't like Tron as a coin, fine. Get it and swap it for something else. Build a business center on the Tron side. Take that Tron, swap it every day for Ethereum. Use that to build and fund your journey over on the Ethereum side and vice versa. You traded Mega for wood and sand. Got it. Yeah, somebody hit that vault really hard with metal. I just noticed that the other day. All right, so Zero, you mentioned, I think I love you got to the exact same place that if we were talking and I said, hey, this is not true advice, this is just, words from a friend. I think you really do have a really cool opportunity here to position your district, which has been dead for so long. It's actually been good for you. The fact that it's been dead means that you haven't had people building randomly, ungoverned by a district owner with a zoning plan or anything like that. So it's like finding the woolly mammoth in the Arctic ice. It's been lying there for 10,000 years, but it's well preserved. And now, because of how well preserved it was, you're actually going to be able to make use of it. So I think that same concept follows through with District 150. So a couple things. One, I would reach out to Knight. Knight owns District 151 because you share a border with District 151, and Knight has done a phenomenal job of growing 151, not just through their own building and development, but from bringing other folks in. So when you think about what Knight's plan is for this area, see, I'm not sure who owns this land. It's probably Danny, right? So there's opportunities here to create some type of collaboration or a shared vision for what this border can become. Is Knight trying to promote people building industrial buildings and office buildings? Or is Knight trying to, really hope and incentivize folks to come in and just have this be nothing but beautiful, unique custom buildings? So I would reach out to Knight, better understand what they're trying to do with this shared border of the district. Second, I would immediately start thinking about how you can market and brand this area along the park. There's nothing about it right now that stands out, and that's good because the fact that it hasn't stood out is what has allowed this to be preserved for so long. But you've got a really, really great opportunity, and because most of this land is actually still available for sale off the primary market, you've got a good chance to get some revenue back as people buy this land. And that's why I say for now, I love that your land prices are at 5%. I think as you see people buy more land, you gradually start to bring that up. And it has to be brought up because of something. I don't think it can just be arbitrary. I mean, it can be whatever you want. But for your community to grow and trust you and empathize and be like, hell yeah, I'm okay that you raise it from 5 to 10 to 20%. There has to be a sense of, I've added X amount of value into the district, and therefore I'm going to raise the prices from 5 to 10%. The other thing, when you raise the land prices, in this case, you're at 5%, you raise it to 15, 20, 50, whatever the case may be, it actually does help the folks who already own land. Because what it does is it artificially raises the floor on your unsold land plots. So secondary sales in your secondary market actually could thrive a little bit more because if the cheapest plot of land right now is 0.1 Ethereum and you raise your land prices up to 50%, that plot of land that was 0.1 before might be 0.15 now. And if somebody buys near it, it's going to jump up drastically. So now all of a sudden your secondary market isn't trying to compete with, well, somebody can buy a plot of land in District 150 that's never been purchased before for 0.1 Ethereum. Why are they going to buy my random hospital in the middle of nowhere for 0.2 or 0.15? But if the cheapest plot of unsold land is 0.15, now would they buy this? Yeah, absolutely, because it's cheaper to buy this municipal building. You get less gas fees for buying something off the secondary market, and it might be in a better location. And then so getting back to the offices. So if you can incentivize offices, you're going to naturally start to see residentials pop up. And the cool thing about both of those sectors, the people who come in and build mega offices or mega residentials, they don't mess around, because those are two sectors that you are encouraged to invest, I think, incrementally to make sure your IP is as good as possible, because you don't want your citizen offspring to be, you don't want to be leaving value on the table. So if you are able to attract level 7 business centers, level 7 district offices, level 7 residential buildings, you're going to get a really, really handsome reward just from your cut of those taxes. So you're going to get 17% of every action that occurs in the district. So when somebody builds a mega business center, if your taxes are set to, let's call it 0% for offices, that mega business center is going to cost somebody 2 Ethereum in construction fees and taxes, not including the land, not including the materials, just the fees and taxes. You're going to get 17% of that. Whereas if your office taxes are at 100%, it's actually going to cost over 4.5 Ethereum for somebody to build that exact same building. And in a bull market, nobody's going to build a building for 4.5 Ethereum when they can go to another district and build it for 2. And the cool thing about business centers is the district they're in has no impact on anything. So it's like one of the very, very few buildings that you can literally build anywhere, even a district that has an absentee owner. You can build it and just let it sit there, because if it's an absentee district owner, you probably don't have to worry about a whole bunch of other people building office buildings or anything that's going to hurt the IP. And you know what? If the district owner raises taxes or drops taxes, who cares? Because once it's built, it's impacted by nothing. So bringing in business centers could be a really, really cool opportunity. You can't control whether somebody builds a business center versus a district office. But I would say, unless you yourself have plans to invest very heavily in building in your own district, I wouldn't worry too much about trying to preserve the district fund for yourself. Let your developers take that, and then you ride that wave of 17% of everything that happens. The other thing that I just mentioned too is, depending on what it is that you want to do with the district, like if you're here and you just want to be the district owner, manage it, grow it, and develop it, that's completely fine. However, I think the real value of being a district owner is when you are actively developing your own district, because the purchase price of new unsold land, you're getting a portion of that back. Every dollar that you spend in construction fees and taxes, you get 17 cents back. So it's like this never-ending instant rebate for every single thing that you do in your district. And that means that right off the top, all your collections, all your constructions, you get an extra 17% of margin to play with. And that, especially when Mega takes a hit or there's a downturn, that allows you to be profitable a lot longer than most other players. Bob says, if anyone has capital and wants to rent some high-level industrials and energy buildings, let them know. Awesome. Bob, if you got any coordinates you want to drop in the chat, feel free to go for it. Kevin, you know what, Kevin? I'm so tired of myself not remembering to say that. Kevin is spot on. District ownership is part of achieving a vertically integrated strategy. And I love that you say that, because you mentioned that, and then also office buildings. You're not actually, and I need to rephrase myself a lot of times, because I like to say that I'm vertically integrated for, running 2 mega steel plants every day, but I'm actually not, because I don't have an office. I don't have a district. I have no passive source of Ethereum coming in. The only way for me to actually run my collections and pay for them is for me to sell something, or for me to pull more Ethereum into the game to fund those collections. That's a great point. That's a great point. So yeah, so Zero, depending on what you want to do, I think the nice thing about this setup is that you could go pure district development and just, attract people into the district, help them get set up, help them understand what your vision is, create and structure policies that are conducive to the types of buildings that you do want. Or you go the path of you've got this great, almost blank canvas that you yourself can start building on too. All right, let's hop into Mega World, because I want to illustrate for everybody just how cool District 150 is. So you hop in, you get the Ethereum main tower, and then lose I forget what those are called, fellowship towers. So District 150 is, I said, bordering Central Park, and if we run down, so this is the park. So you've got the main tower, and then the park. District 150 is adjacent to and touches this exact same park, just across the water. So if we run, we're going to run for a little bit here. Vehicles will be important in world. We run down here. We're eventually going to get to the border of 43 and 151, and we can cut into 151 to get into 150. All right. We might be getting closer now. So on the new map, looks like, all right, so I'm going to take a left here. And now we should be heading towards District 151. And it's going to become, there we go. All right, so there's 151. That is Knight's landmark. You're going to see some residential buildings, office buildings. All right, so we are now officially in District 151. And you see this is still that exact same park across the way. You're not going to be able to see it now, but you've got the main tower. So Zero, this is that shared border that we were talking about, because you've got District 151 over here, and over here on the right is also District 151, but right across the road over here, this is 150. So it's really, really close to the main tower. World is doing that thing that freezes up on me. That's always fun. So we're gonna reload that. But what we're looking at is essentially you're standing right over here, right? So we passed the landmark. We came over here, and what we just rolled into was this area over here. So everything to the left or west is District 150. Yo, Bruno! Yes, he does run fast. But imagine how much faster he would run if MCP partnered with Under Armour, Nike, New Balance, Reebok, and offer them the ability to sell blueprints or their own sneakers, which would make your citizen run faster, maybe just by a little bit. Yeah, no problem, Bob. All right, so if anybody's looking for some high-level industrial or energy buildings, Bob just tossed them out there: 325, 48, and 86, 292. Okay, good. All right, so Zero, you do have plans to build. That's awesome. You're going to get a lot of. I think that as you start building, what you're going to realize is, I think Ethereum districts are a little bit tough because they actually. What a lot of people don't realize is it's actually tough to profit off of a district with just a pure district ownership play. But the value that you're going to get back as you build and save that 17% is going to defray that cost of the district. and you still have the district asset down the road that you can sell. Plus, as you build and as other people build, you're going to start to get passive income from the district. So I like it. I don't like buying Ethereum districts just as a pure passive play, because I think that MCP need to do some stuff to tweak the value proposition of them. But when you buy it to build in it and also benefit from other people building in it, that I think that use case is perfect. Let's see if I can get back into world now. I think they said the hot fix for this is coming soon, but this is a little bit of a pain. So obviously, like Zero right now, one of the challenges that you'll have is you don't have a subway built in your district yet. Not a deal breaker, but as an example, it's like game crash. I had to load back in. I have to walk all the way back to your district, which luckily you're very close. But if you were a district out in the far reaches, or somebody didn't want to go through the bother of loading back in and running back to this location, they'd have a hard time reaching it. So as you start to see other people coming and building in your district, and you start to see some value being returned, when you think about if you're trying to create a district that's ideal for custom buildings, you could probably purchase a 2x2 somewhere near that park area that we're going to head towards now. Drop a metro station there, and that should immediately make that super prime real estate, because not only is it right next to your metro station, which is going to be great for foot traffic, but it's also right next to the biggest park in the game. All right, so we are back to where we started now. We look across the street, that's District 151. There's Knights Buildings, and we're over here. This is District 150. So this entire area, Zero, should eventually, I think, based off of what we think world will become, most of these level ones probably get cleared out, and people will start building very large custom buildings, residential buildings, because of the view of the park. Who knows? But this area over here, this should be a wonderful place for anybody who's looking to buy land for world. And if you look at District 151 and 43, those areas that border the park, that land has sold, like, and the land that remains is very expensive. So your benchmark and your point of comparison on your open land that borders the park versus that in 151 or 43, you have a much cheaper value proposition than those districts. So at the bare minimum, as people buy more in those districts and more people get priced out of there, you should see that trickle down and start to benefit your park front land as well. And everything in your district is laid out in a very symmetrical grid-like pattern. All of your sites here, they're 2x2 or larger, so you've got plenty of room to have people build large buildings, which presumably will be better for you and for the district. Maybe not, I don't know, but I can't see a reason why somebody constructing a 50 floor skyscraper would be less beneficial than somebody building a tiny apartment on a one single plot of land. So, and as you come through here, this is the edge of your district, which again, it's a smaller district. It's not that wide. It's a rectangular shape. But the nice thing about your district being laid out the way it is you probably don't need to be as dependent on bus stops, because I can literally run from one end of your district to another in probably a minute. Oh, let's time it. 12:11 when I started. We've got a Usain Bolt over here. Yeah, and you're literally going to be able to run from one side of your district to another in less than a minute. So your bus stations really just have to focus on getting people from one end to the other, not necessarily that side from the park to something else. So that should save you, because you won't need to buy a bunch of land to build bus stations to feel confident that you're giving your district and your developers the best chance of success. Yeah, this is all prime real estate. Everything along here. The only reason why this land does not become increasingly valuable is if for some reason the value proposition of world is not what we think it will be, or if the rollout gets botched. But this is, if I was personally speculating on the Ethereum side and I can't buy any land cheap on 43, and I've got nothing in 151, literally the next place I'd look is 150. Yes, so Zero, your bus station can be built without the subway. In the world demo, you can construct a bus station and somebody can travel from one district into your district using a bus station. When world rolls out, the only way to travel from one district to another besides vehicles is going to be that metro station. So for the purposes of just getting people into your district during the demo phase of the world alpha, you could toss down a bus station to make that jump seamless. But ultimately, when world does roll out, you probably do want to think about a metro station. There's always the chance that somebody else builds it, but right now, I don't think anybody's identified a real reason to build a metro station if you aren't the district owner, because we have no confirmation there's going to be any source of revenue that comes through it. The subway costs a lot. The subway is going to cost you, we'll do the math out right now, but it's going to cost you 1,000 steel. Let's check this out. And we need to make sure this is going the right direction. So you need 1,000 steel, which is going to be what, 100 and, let's call it 190. We'll round up, 200. You need 200 mega for the steel. Your glass, you need 5,000. Oh, much less. Right for that, let's call it 150. So you're up to 350 mega, and then your brick, you're gonna need a lot of brick. Oh man, I wish this was a lot easier. 240, the 350, 240. You're gonna need a little bit less than 500 mega to build that subway station, plus the cost of land. Yeah, Mega on the Ethereum side is at a nice little discount. I can tell you that I sure as heck will have no interest in swapping any Mega for Ethereum at that price. Yeah, so your subway, if you were going to build a subway, like the subway for District 151 is right here. So you do benefit. Knight's placement has put it here. So somebody who's familiar with the map and wants to get to 150 would take the subway to District 151, hop out, and you're right here. Right, so you probably, if you were going to build a subway, you probably wouldn't want to put it over here. You would most likely want to put it somewhere that's relatively equidistant on this side, maybe somewhere in the ballpark of like over here. You could put it right along the border of the park, but then you're consuming real estate that probably should be used for larger custom buildings. So maybe like one block pushed back, something over here in this area would be ideal. Probably, honestly, maybe over here, because you've got a lot of very, very large sites and a lot of open land. So the land itself might be a little bit more expensive for you to buy, but it immediately would open up this area for people to want to purchase land so that they can be near the subway, so they can build other buildings. And the more land that's unsold nearby, the more chances are that people will buy that land, and those are more opportunities for you to make money off of those land purchases. So you definitely do benefit from the fact that you've got District 151 right nearby, and people could always go into just take the 151 subway. Like this is your the park property. So from where your district is, people are just walking right through the park to this. Again, like it's pretty as far as the game goes. I don't know what the purpose is going to be or what the park is going to bring, but they've named it, they've branded it, they've literally called their metro station in 43, the Central Park Station. I have to imagine that this area is going to play some kind of a role, whether it be social or practical or technical. I'm not sure, but it's too well known of a landmark to not become something, I think. Right. Pop back over to 3D. And so the next thing that I would look at here is, let me pull the map back up. When you think about if you're leaning into office and residential, what we'll want to try to identify is what are the areas of the map that you could immediately start to market as a prime office or residential area. And really what we're looking for is not just places where there's no or little industrial today, but actually places where you've got room to grow for an ideal zone. So you do have, as we get closer to 150 here, with this area being focused residential and office, you could try to piggyback on that, and you could say, hey, you know what? I really, really want to focus all of my developers who are looking to build office or residential right over here in this section. They're going to benefit from the proximity to 151 and the fact that there really isn't any disruptive building over here. You in turn are going to create more valuable space over here for 151. So there's some synergy and a symbiotic relationship there. Anything over here to the left, because you've got this large industrial site here, Darren's not going to want to demolish this. So you should probably just plan on this area being the cutoff. That really, this section over here is going to be perfect for residential buildings. You want to incentivize office buildings to be constructed over here to kind of shield and be that buffer zone between industrial and residential. And then as you get farther out, again, name of the game is just when you're setting up your zones, wherever you have residential, think about residential should be in the middle. Office should be on the outer perimeter of that residential. And then industrial production, all that stuff can be on the outer edge of the office. So if you think about it, think residential is your bullseye, office is that first ring around it, industrial production is that next ring, and your office zoning is protecting your residential while still creating highly valuable land for your industrial or your production buildings. Yes, reppin'. You're depending on what plots you're talking about. Office, you will see a lot of people that build just a handful of level 1 office buildings, whether it be business centers or office blocks, next to especially production buildings and residential buildings. You'll see it sometimes with industrial, but predominantly I've seen it most often deployed to support a mega residential. As well as to support production buildings. Kevin does that a lot in his districts. Just give me 1 second. It is freezing down here. I'm putting the space heater on. 1 second. All right. Every time I do this, I say, I'm going to bundle up and wear a sweatshirt. And then I come downstairs and I put the heater on. I'm like, oh, this is fine. It's going to be fine. And then I forget about just how loud it is. So let me know if there's a ton of feedback coming through. But I think for me to not freeze here, we're going to keep the space heater on. Yeah, so reppin', you'll see it happen a lot. It's really not happening here in 150. You're usually only going to see those IP boosters added when the land is cheap or if it's a player with a much larger budget who says, yeah, you know what, I'll buy the land, I'll use it to boost this other building, and at some point down the road, if I sell this building, I still have this other land that I can use to, to sell for other purposes. One call I would have, and I've seen this happen a lot, if you have an opportunity to purchase, whether it be a residential, really any building for that matter, but a residential or an office building, especially a mega building, and you look at the price of the building and you look at the IP and you're like, well, price is right, the IP is right, this looks like a perfect deal. The one thing I would always do first before you pull the trigger on anything, go to the building, look at the person that you are purchasing the building from, look around your building or their building at the area of influence. If you see a mega business center or mega residential with a ton of level 1 residential or office boosters owned by the same person who is selling that building to you, better damn well make sure that those land plots are included in your deal, because you could be purchasing an office or residential mega that has phenomenal IP. You're talking like 120, 150,000 IP, and you're like, this is amazing. But if that person still owns all those booster plots nearby, if they own 15 plots of land with residential or office boosters, there's no reason for them to continue to keep those boosters in place long term. They're going to sell the building to you. They're going to get that capital. That's amazing. Nice profit. Now they also have all these open plots nearby that they can sell to other people or use for other purposes. So always make sure, if you're purchasing a building that is heavily dependent on a bunch of boosters, and those boosters are owned by the same person selling you that building, make sure that they are part of the deal. Zero, are you excited yet? I hope this is helpful. I hope at the absolute bare minimum, if you know, like, there's some wisdom here that you can pull in, and also that this video will be on Twitch. It will also be on YouTube. So as people search MegaCryptoPolis, they're going to see a video specifically titled "Tour of District 150." So hopefully this helps drive some folks your way in the not too distant future. Nice. I'm glad you're excited. You have a ton of great people in the community, not just district owners, but land developers. There's, I think among the district owner community, it's, one district succeeding usually does come kind of at a cost to another district. So, nobody wants to see everybody flood to one district, because it pulls the attention away from the rest of the districts. But I think we're all at a point where lots of district owners, in some cases, actually don't want people building in their district. And you can see that because there are some districts that have extremely, extremely high taxes. And it's genuinely district owners who are like, no, don't come and build in my district, either because they want to preserve it for world, or they want to preserve it for themselves. So you should feel comfortable and confident asking questions. Just know that, gut check everything that you hear, trust but verify. This was a piping hot cappuccino when I started. It is now, it's not even room temperature. Well, actually, I suppose it is room temperature, because the room temperature is about 25 degrees in here. So it is now very, very cold. All right. So yeah. So Zero, any questions? Anything that we can help you out with? Anything you want to shout out to the community? All right. Well, hey, now we so is there awareness that you purchase? Is it awareness that you purchase the district, or the concern of purchasing it without knowing what to do with it? Kevin K, welcome gift for ZeroCool. But you are the man. I'll drop a shameless plug for Kevin in here. If anybody needs red satellites, talk to Kevin. Ah, okay. Okay. So, I mean, it's kind of like Bitcoin. Actually, it's a hell of a lot. It's better than Bitcoin, right? Because it actually has a purpose. Let's see. Great question. Hi, Baba. Do you know what the functionality of offices at for you talking about in Mega World specifically? So as we transition from the 3D microeconomy to adding the metaverse layer on top, what the purpose of office buildings will be? Okay. Yep. So we don't, right? So we know that they're going to retain their current purpose, which will be to draw revenue from either the global or the local district funds. So source of passive income, that shouldn't change. We're not aware that it's going to change. In Mega World, though, if we think about it, just practically speaking, walking into a level 1 residential, you have this very, very small area that you can, walk around and interact with. But a business center, especially like the higher levels, goes up. So I think we've talked about, like, some people hope that those can actually function as true office space. I've seen a whole bunch of articles recently about people talking about how I think it was Bill Gates. There was an article from about Bill Gates talking about the role of metaverse and business meetings going forward, and that over the next in the next 3 years, the vast majority, if not all, business and conferences and business meetings will occur within the metaverse. So you think there's an opportunity for that. But they don't serve any distinct purpose in Mega World yet that we know of. Oh, I like that idea, Kevin. MCP should send some stocking stuffers to random wallets. Maybe some bugs or pine cones that can boost stats. Send them all to Eric. No, I'm so excited for what this game can become, and it frustrates me like nothing else when I see people come into the community and with unfair, unrealistic expectations, because they think just because they've seen X, Y, or Z in some other project, just because they're used to seeing every single project where people are shouting sweep the floor, or they're putting $1,000 in and the next day it's worth $10,000. It's not what MCP is. It's not what it's ever been. Nobody here has ever been, in a situation where overnight they're like, oh my gosh, my life has changed. That's not what this game is about. It's about creating a sustainable economy. And MCP, I firmly believe, is the reason why I'm so emotionally invested in this game, is that this is a place that is going to be thriving long after so many of these other projects have dropped and died, because there's a rock solid, highly motivated, engaged community behind the project. There's really, in the grand scheme of things, so few people who play this game that just a 10% increase in the amount of players is going to be extremely noticeable. The team doesn't market the project yet, so you have all of these tailwinds that says in the coming bear market, this game is set up for success. As long as MCP can provide the appropriate, we'll call it customer support in terms of bugs and just general onboarding, and they can really work and hone on their communication, so that people are aware that when they're not around for a couple weeks, they're not around because they're heads down developing and coding, not because they've just taken some time off. I don't know. I love this game for what it can become. I'm in love with what it allows me to do and how I can enjoy the game. But when all is said and done, I don't see this game ever appealing to those folks, the crypto bros who come in and are hell bent on seeing this ridiculous return. I've heard some people talk about my ROI timeline is it's over 8 months. I'm sorry, would you like to put your money into a certificate of deposit at a bank where you can earn 1% back? You only are going to ROI in 8 months. That's a state, that is the craziest statement that I hear so often, and it's just unrealistic expectations based off of so many games. There are some games that are thriving, that are going to have a sustainable future and economy, and that's awesome. But there are so many projects that are literally, they are built on FOMO. They are built on an artificial pump created by their own community or their own developers. And when there's blood in the water, or there's new regulations, or there's anything that upsets the current balance or the current, the current paradigm, the only games that are really going to start to succeed and take off while everything else is dropping are the games that are built on a sustainable future. And MCP has a sustainable model. There's plenty of things they can do. And I like that. I don't actually think there's anybody in the community that would disagree with that. I think that even the people who grow frustrated with the team sometimes will all tell you that the thing that they remain the most excited about is what this game can become. Zero, what I would also say too is, if you haven't checked it out, check out mcphq.io. I'll link that here. I'll drop it in chat. Because this should be a nice place for you to get started, as far as if you've got questions on different types of buildings, the resource or the material requirements, anything like that. You've also got some. We did add this page specifically for all the content creators out there. Shows you everything anything people are tweeting about MCP, as well as videos that are being made by members of the community about MCP, are all right here. So this should, there's Hustler. This should give you a nice opportunity to kind of just self-educate on your own time, and then any questions you have, reach out. Eric, you should be here, because the way to get here is for me to add the video to a playlist, but I don't actually see your, because I think I haven't added your video. Eric, can you shoot me the link for your video? I'll do it right now. Kevin, great question. All right, so let's check out other districts for sale. Nope, wrong one. Market. Districts. Something is bugged. Let me reload. Let me reload. I learned a little trick that if I stream at 30 frames per second instead of 60, and I think Twitch only handles 30 anyways, the load on my computer is about 90% less. In case anybody was curious. All right, let's check out the marketplace. See if it's working now. All right, here we go. All right, so so Zero, I can totally see why 150 was immediately you were immediately drawn to it, because it is the cheapest by far. So you've got the new cheapest is now 30 ETH for District 139, 33 for District 49, 35 for 47, 40 for 152, 65 for 149, 64, 141. All right, let's check out the next cheapest 30 Ethereum one. District 139, not owned by a known wallet. Let's jump. Oh, yeah. All right, perfect. Shoot to Discord. I'll grab it. Thank you, sir. I have your link. I'm going to drop Eric's link in chat for anybody who wants it. And then, if you give me 1 second, I'm gonna pull up your video, and if we add it to the very special MSPHQ playlist, which it's already there. So, Eric, my question is, for WordPress, why am I not seeing it? That's interesting. Don't know why it's not showing up. We'll get it sorted out. But anyways, it's there for everybody. All right, so 139. All right, 139, if we look over here at the mini map, it is all the way down here at the bottom. Coastal district is nice. Let's check out the size. The district fund is 0.15 Ethereum, which tells me that nobody has done anything here in a very, very long time. And here's why. Because the taxes are through the roof. These taxes might have been okay in a bear market. In a bull market, no one's gonna do anything here. It is a very small district, so about 700, 800 plots. It's saying 11 resource spots. That feels like a lot of clusters. I'm assuming. All right. So is this all 139? So 139 does have. Wow, it does. So 139 has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ooh, baby. Okay, so 139. If there was ever a district that was perfect for energy and industrial, it is 139. You're going to get no residential here if it ever does develop, because as people build energy buildings and then industrial buildings near there, everything is so tightly packed and condensed that residential is always going to be getting hit with industrial. This is a perfect district for the owner to lean in, drop those energy and industrial taxes, and let people come on in here and build. Not 30. It's definitely not worth 30 Ethereum though. Not at the current value proposition. But somebody who's coming in here who wants to, like Zero, similar to what we were just talking about with your district. If you're looking to have a fully vertically integrated supply chain, and you have a big budget to work with, buying something like this district and then building your own buildings, your own energy and industrial buildings, that would be a reason why I would personally, if I was going to buy something, I'd be willing to pay more than maybe the fair value for a district like this, because it's relatively untouched. Nobody's been building in it. I've got plenty of land that I can purchase, and I could, like Hustler was talking about earlier, like if you want to build a large energy grid, this district has, it's got to be like almost 1 in 4 plots is a resource plot. But that's a crazy ratio. It's awesome. But I don't think it's worth 30 Ethereum at this current point. Let's see what else we have. I know. Yeah, Kevin, I think if we talk to Emrom's CEO or CFO, they would tell you that we're teetering, very similar to our namesake. We are teetering on the edge of insolvency for our capital reserves. Because unlike Mega Development Corporation, we were not smart and we didn't build district offices and business centers. We rely on Mega being more than 0.004 Ethereum. So 139 is at 30 Ethereum. 49 is at 33. I'm gonna hit 49, and I'm gonna go to 141, because I want to point some things out. So what district did I say? 149. Short-term memory, non-existent. District 49, not 149. Is 49 not owned by Steve G? It is, right? It is. Okay. All right. So Steve owns 49. Steve is on Discord, so you can always reach out to him. Let's see. So about 1,100 plots. So pretty close, a little bit larger than District 150 that we just looked at. Same thing. Lots of resource plots. Taxes have been pretty low for a while, so this is fairly representative of if you were to buy the district and do nothing. There's, what you see is probably what you're going to get because people have already been used to those lower taxes. 49 does, though, have this really, really cool water feature, though, that runs pretty much through the entire district. And 49, if you look, pretty much all of these really large buildings, Steve has built a ton in this district because he's capitalizing on the fact that as a district owner, he's getting an instant rebate of 17% back on everything that he does. The one thing I'm always curious about is when I see lots of level 6 buildings. I know obviously the value proposition and mechanics have changed over the years, but level 6, when you have the opportunity to build level 7, feels like a huge opportunity that's just sitting out there. Steve does have an empire, Kevin, because Steve's got what? District 49, I think 48, maybe 47 as well. Steve owns at least 2 districts, if not a third one. But even this one too, right? Like there's still plenty of room to build. Greg's name pops up a lot. There's lots of stuff here. Land's going to be a little bit more expensive because Steve's had the land prices set at 50%, so it's going to be more expensive. But similarly to what we talked about with District 150, with that park front property, you've got property over here that's along this little water feature. Actually, I think Steve, he must have built a subway in 49 already. Oh, let's refresh. Let me see if I can hop there. Yeah, paddle boat. So 49's nice. I want to hop to 141. 141, near and dear to my heart. And so one thing would be like if somebody was looking at District 49, obviously since Steve is the driving force behind the majority of construction here, you'd probably always want to make sure that is Steve planning on continuing to build in 49 even after he sells it? If no, then that's okay, but ideally you want to have people who are lined up who want to continue building. 141, what I really like about this is, so first of all, the vast majority of my holdings are in 141. I built in 141 to start because Blue was highly accessible, really helped me get started in the game, and I've had at the time the land was really it wasn't the cheapest, but there was lots of great open land, and I think Blue was really one of the first people, if not the first, to really deploy a public zoning strategy. So any land that I purchased, I knew exactly what his plan was for that land in that area in the future, which allowed me to buy and build with confidence. And what I like about 141, so if you were going to buy it, the great thing is there isn't any part of this map that's messed up because he put a zoning plan in place. There's a couple, buildings, like people who built errant buildings, like this person. Blue was very clear that this is for residential and offices, and this person came in and built an industrial here. It's literally all over the Discord, all sorts of documents on this. So you're still going to have some instances like that. But across the district, everything is zoned to perfection. Land's a little bit more expensive, but what's also cool about 141 is I think Blue owns pretty much most of the land that's all like clustered together. Blue owns. So if you're going to buy the district, you could also try to buy the land. And like we were talking about before, having a place that can literally be your playground as the district owner, not only to own the district, but to start building, 141 offers a really, really cool opportunity for that. Because not only do you have a community that's already here, you've got myself, Cosmic, Mr. M, Slats, Baller's Hair, Blue's got a bunch of buildings in here as well. There's an existing community that's already building and has other land to build on. So I definitely do like that. But this is an interesting one because, like Eric was bringing up the other day, 141 is on the outskirts of the map, right? So if this was a district where there wasn't easy access, there wasn't a subway or some way to get here, for World, when we think about scholarships and free-to-play players as employees in our corporation, these are buildings that we might have to pay a little bit more to draw people in because, look, it's all the way out here on the outskirts of the map. But the good thing is, Blue's constructed the metro station. There's a handful of bus stations already around. So just taking a look around at stuff like that is I think even more important these days because you can't just buy the cheapest plot of land in whatever district you find. You really have to find land that works for what you want to do here and now, as well as holds an opportunity to appreciate long term. And then you also have to make sure that your land is accessible in some way, shape, or form in World, because if the district doesn't have a metro station, if it doesn't have bus stops, if it doesn't have the supporting infrastructure to draw people there, what's cheap today, and maybe valuable to you today might become like really, really challenging as, an asset that could be underwater or just difficult to sell or use going forward. And so what is this? This district is you have it listed for, was it 60? 60. Right, so you see a really, really, really wide range. I think Ethereum districts are in a phase of price discovery. Most of these districts that have been out here at these prices have been listed at these prices for a while. You're talking like bear market pricing in some cases. So like Zero, you getting it at 17 is great because obviously nobody else can. There isn't an easy way for somebody else to buy a district for less than 30 Ethereum. We have seen some districts go around like the 10 to 15 Ethereum mark. I feel like we saw one go cheaper, but I'm not positive. But like MCP, I think at this point MCP realizes that if somebody's going to purchase a district, it is, with the exception of the Generation A astronauts, the true astronauts, it is the rarest asset in the entire game. It's only 55 Ethereum districts. There's only 55 Tron districts. So you owning a district, you're essentially owning one of the rarest. It's like you're doing CryptoPunks. It's almost the equivalent of like Danny's 7 trait because there's only one, right? In this case, you're not talking about a floor level asset. You're talking about an asset that MCP really should be building a really, really robust value proposition roadmap around because they're so rare and because the community has said, yeah, like I want a district. It's part of a vertical integration strategy. It's prestigious. It's exciting. There's a lot that you can do with it. And as World comes out and we think about like governance, all that stuff, I think, owning an office building versus owning a district. As a district owner, you're going to have a much larger role to play in governance policies and in the direction of Mega World. Whereas owning an office, that's awesome. You're definitely generating some revenue, but it's not the cornerstone of the game. I would have loved to have purchased an Ethereum district. They're just too expensive. But in hindsight, if I could go back and do it all over again, or if I hit the lottery and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna pull some money into MCP, probably the first thing that I would do is I would go in, I would buy the most untouched, well-preserved district that has the least amount of dead wallets possible, and then start using it for my own building purposes. On the Tron side, when I bought a district, I didn't actually plan on building in it myself, and therefore I didn't do the best job of reserving land for myself. But going over and doing it again, if I was going to go super, super heavy and crazy, Kevin K building something in 142, 77 and 181. I would definitely consider district ownership to be a very, very important part of that supply chain. Kevin, what you doing over here? Oh, I see you. Kevin's got a nice spot here for a mega business center. Nice. Who owns 142? Diablo. Do we know who Diablo is in Discord? I don't think I do. Ah, nice. Any particular purpose, Kevin? It's like random district beautification, more valuable land nearby, so people will buy the land. That would be if that's your plan. That's brilliant. That would be brilliant, because now what Kevin's doing, let's say whether it's intended or not, by Kevin building just level 1 business centers here, this land, I mean, there's already a commercial. This land just became quite valuable for either another office building or residential, and it's all unpurchased, right? So this area, just by Kevin owning these, he could be incentivizing somebody to purchase land over here, and if it's within 3 plots of his 2x2, he's going to be getting a percent of that kickback back. So could be interesting. Extra citizens, kind of bored, need a building fix. Yo, if you got extra citizens that need work, Kevin, I have a mega water plant in 122 that has like 60,000 IP with 3 red satellites, employing a bunch of like 2 and 3 stat endurance citizens. So if you ever need temporary housing for your citizens, let me know. No, let's check this thing out. It is so bad. Everything, lots of the things that I built knowing that I would just kind of like get there, and if the game took off, I'd go back and I'd invest the appropriate, capital to optimize my fleet. I do have a ton of really, really, really good level 7 buildings, but I do have like literally this one. This one is particularly challenging. So we're rocking the 51,000 IP and then 15,000 boost from the red satellites. Just getting absolutely hammered by the energy around. There's really very, very few industrial buildings around to help me out. So I'm getting hit hard there. But then when we look at my citizens, and we're dealing with some real beauties here. 3 stat energy. Yeah. And the yield will show. So keep in mind that the max yield for a level 7 water plant is like 3,300 water. So I'm literally just flirting just a smidge above 50% efficiency. Brutal. But I do have the opportunity to drop a monument down here. So the monument would what? Monument would cancel out the negative 26,000. So that's going to bring my base from 51 to like 77,000. And then, I mean, the good thing is it's going to help me get close to 100,000. Actually, I should pass 100,000. So it's there. It's within reach. I got to buy land for a monument and then construct the monument. So close to like 8.8, 0.9 Ethereum, maybe less when all is said and done. I can't bring myself to spend even half an Ethereum to boost, my output by 400 to 500 units of energy. Oh, nice. Celebration time, Zero. Well, honestly, I mean, anything you do in crypto, I think, is grounds to be called crazy. You're in uncharted territory, and you've been in the space for a while, right? So I'm sure anytime you make a purchase, anytime you do anything, you don't just randomly do it. Like, maybe sometimes we make quicker decisions, but when all is said and done, you've been in the space for a while. You clearly, you were smart enough to get involved when you got involved back in what did you say, 16, 17. You've built up a lot of experience, over the last couple of years. So your gut has to at least be a pretty solid, guidance for you as to, like what has the chance to take off and what doesn't. So, hey. Oh, from mining. And Zero, I think something I would tell you is I think sometimes people buy districts and they just expect, all right, well, I spent all this money in the district, so like now I'm just going to sit back and I'm going to reap the rewards. It's not like that. It's not a game where you can buy a district and do absolutely nothing and expect that people are going to build. So, like, best thing that I can tell you is like look at the districts, at the district channels that are most active, and there probably is a correlation between the activity in that channel and the engagement of that district owner. There are plenty of districts that have thrived because their district owner builds themselves. But the districts that really have a community and a plan are the ones that I've seen thrive in a market and an economy that has had a lot of headwinds and fewer tailwinds. You spend all those years planning for nothing. Yeah. Yeah, I think about all the time that I spent playing games. I played a ton of RuneScape, like a lot of RuneScape, and even like Grand Theft Auto. I spent stupid amounts of money buying the in-game currency in GTA so I could buy cars and stuff. And literally, like, what I love about these games now is if you are going to say, yeah, I'm going to spend my money on this stuff, the nice thing is you actually own the asset, right? So if nothing else, the time you spend playing something, the time that you invest into these games, you have a chance to really return something besides just satisfaction and an emotional response. There's a financial reaction and opportunity with play to earn gaming that has just, quite frankly, never existed before. And Zero, I mean, the good thing too is technically the floor price of districts is now 30 Ethereum. So there's nothing that says that you couldn't just drop that. I mean, in all honesty, it might not be the worst idea. Take your district, drop it back on the market for 25, 29 Ethereum, and you might, you might be able to flip, because anybody who's coming into the game who doesn't do a ton of research is going to look and say, oh, well, there's only a handful of these districts available for sale, and 150 is the cheapest. So I think you can build and develop it. You could and hold it long term. You could also have a chance to flip it as soon as MCP starts marketing World and gives us clearer guidance as to how the value proposition of district ownership is going to change and evolve and grow. All of these districts that are out there should become a lot more in demand. I like it. No flip, it's a hold. All right. Next gen mining farm. I like it. As long as the tricky thing is, unlike mining, you can't just plug it in and let it go. This is going to be one of those things that you're going to have to show the community what you're all about. You're going to have to show them that this is, like you're here to build something. And as soon as you do that, people are going to be excited. Plus, they now have this walkthrough of your district where we've laid out for them exactly what the opportunities are. It's gonna be good. Yeah, way less expensive. And I wish I didn't learn about crypto until like literally a little over a year ago. Like when I learned about crypto, about 3 months before I got into MCP. And I got into MCP because I was so bad with crypto. I was buying the wrong things and selling it for like ludicrous losses, just stupid losses. And I got to the point where I was like, if I'm going to lose my money, I might as well put it in a game and enjoy playing while I lose it. So, been pleasantly surprised. $7,000 electricity bill per year. Oof. Wow. What are they doing? Did I see that somebody was building a mining facility, like being powered but like geothermal from a volcano? That's a thing? Ingenuity there is staggering. Ballsy too. I've always been taught that when you see a volcano, you walk away from the volcano. You don't go closer to a volcano. I understand why people build near volcanoes in Hawaii, because it's beautiful, and yeah, you know what? I'll take that risk. But whew, all that equipment near a volcano, that's gotta be a hefty insurance bill. So yeah, so we walked through a lot today. I think we had a chance to cover a new district. Zero, I hope that this was helpful for you. Like I said, it'll be out on Twitch for like 2 weeks, and then after that, it'll be out on YouTube. So should be easily accessible. Reach out to me with any questions. I think you should be very excited about the opportunity that you have ahead of you. And it's not going to take, honestly, it's not going to take much. This game and building a community is really so much. It's kind of like dominoes, not the game dominoes, but like when you set dominoes up to knock them down and fall. Getting one person in that's going to build a mega business center is immediately that starts to draw other folks in. And if you can get people to share their experience on Twitter, there are so few districts that are doing any kind of marketing. I'm not talking about marketing in Discord, like that is what it is, but like when somebody discovers MCP, district owners have a chance to have a ton of content sitting out there on Twitter, on YouTube, on anything else, so that as part of somebody's onboarding and as part of somebody's due diligence, they're being flooded and seeing nothing but your district. Like it's what I've done over in Tron. My district may not always be the best. It may not be the worst, wherever it is, but anybody who is searching for MegaCryptoPolis is just going to see nothing but District 214 content. And it takes some time, it takes some energy and effort, but when all is said and done, like positioning your district for success, it's not about positioning it for success today or this week. It's about when world deploys, when all eyes are on MegaCryptoPolis, are they going to find your district, or is your district going to get lost in the haze and the shuffle? You're welcome, Zero. You're welcome. So tomorrow, we are right back here, same time, same place. And what I want to do is, we got a lot of new faces in the Discord. So what I figured we could do is do like a little bit of an onboarding session for new players. So hopefully we get a lot of folks who are joining who have questions. If they don't have questions, what I'm probably going to try to do is I'll pivot a little bit, and I'll try to approach the game the way that I would if I was brand new. So we'll either do some Q&A, and I love for folks in chat to help out so that it's not just me answering questions. But worst case scenario, if there aren't a lot of new folks that show up, we'll kind of walk it through like we were starting MCP for the first time. And we'll create some content that we can put out there that we can refer people to, that says, hey, if you're just getting started in MCP, watch this video, because it's not going to spoon feed you everything, but it's going to provide context on what to look for, what's important, what's not important, and maybe we help some folks avoid a couple costly mistakes in the process. So, hope this was helpful. I am anxiously hoping that folks will pull some new players in tomorrow, so we can have a really, really great discussion there. But also, I'd love to get everybody's thoughts on what kind of content you'd like to see going forward. What do you think will be important? I'm not keen on pre-recorded stuff just yet, because I have no idea how to edit anything. So Twitch serves me perfectly right now. But anytime there's a new district that opens, anytime there's a district that changes hands, I think we'll probably try to do this exact same format. I know next week we've also got Dr. Yakub is opening up one of his districts over on the Tron side, so we'll do a walkthrough of that district the day before the opening. I think it's going to open on Sunday, so we'll walk through it on Saturday. Definitely more chances for folks to come on. We can do another, Baba and Eric session if he's open to it. We can also have other folks on. So I think this can be whatever we want it to be. I would love for everybody to tell me what it is that will really get you excited to roll out of bed on Saturday or Sunday and tune into Twitch. So 6-part miniseries, baby. Absolutely. All right, I'm gonna stick around and chat for a little bit, but thank you so much to everybody who joined. I hope to see you all tomorrow, and keep spreading the positive vibes. Keep helping things remain constructive and productive in that Discord, because I think this community right here, this is the group of people that are going to really, really help bring this game to the masses. So thank you to everybody who is who's here and doing more than just playing a game, but being part of a community and helping to build what I believe is going to be one of the most amazing communities in play-to-earn gaming in the very near future. Catch you later, everybody. Thank you.